Hi, Teen Gerwell. You are flipping in fifth with me, Mrs. G. Today we're talking about Topic 8, Lesson 1, and today's learning target is I can write an algebraic expression. Yes, we are starting algebra. Here are some vocabulary words and some notes that you really need to learn. Variable is a quantity. That's a number, an amount that can change or vary and is often represented with a letter. An example would be the letter N. Up to this point, you've used either a question mark or a square to show an unknown. For instance, in this problem, 5 plus the square equals 15. You would have to figure out 5 plus what equals 15. This is the unknown. But now that you're in fifth grade, we use a letter instead of a square. Can it be any letter? Yes, any letter except for usually an X, and I'll explain why in just a minute. An algebraic expression, well, that's a mathematical phrase that has at least one variable and one operation. There is no equal sign because we do not solve algebraic expressions. An example would be 10 plus n, or 10 plus question mark, how we used to do it, but now that you're a big kid, it's an n. So this is 10 plus whatever this unknown is. When representing multiplication in an expression, you don't use the multiplication sign. 10 times n looks like 10xn, and that gets confusing. So now that you're a big kid, to represent multiplication, you would just do 10 and the variable. People just know and understand that there is a multiplication sign when you see that. Okay, so here's today's problem of the day. Gage bought tubes of hair gel for $7 each. How can you represent the total cost of the tubes of hair gel? Well, wait just a minute. Can we actually solve this? No, we can't find the total cost because we don't know how many tubes he bought. That is our unknown, and we use a variable or a letter to show it's the unknown. So let's pretend he bought 3 tubes. We're just pretending now because we're trying to figure out what operation we would use to solve it. Well, if we knew he bought 3 tubes and we wanted to know how much it cost, we would multiply. So at least we know now what operation we need to do. But since we're not pretending and we really don't know how many tubes he bought, the algebraic expression would be question mark times 7. But now that you're a big kid, remember we use a letter and replace the question mark with the letter n times 7. But what did I tell you before about using the multiplication sign? Remember, I told you that we would just do n7, would show us the algebraic expression for Gage bought tubes of hair gel for $7 each. The n is the variable. So here's another example. The difference of a number t and 22. Well, we know by looking at this word difference that it means we are going to subtract. That's right. So now we just have to plug in the variable and the number. It says the difference of a number t and 22. So the algebraic expression here is t minus 22. We'll try this one now. M bicycles added to 18 bicycles. Again, we know the word added is going to tell us to add. So now we're just going to add the variable and the number. M bicycles added to 18 bicycles. That's the algebraic expression. Let's try this one. 15 times a number n plus 2. Well, we know this word means times, which is multiply, and we have 15 times a number n plus 2. So we also are going to be adding in this equation. So let's go ahead and put our plus sign in and our multiplication sign. We know it's 15 times a number, that's our unknown, a number n, plus 2. Now 15xn plus 2 looks very confusing to me. So that's why we do not ever write the x when we're doing times. Instead, it's just 15n plus 2. But you and I now know that if we see 15n, that really means 15 times n plus 2. Remember, you do not ever have to solve an algebraic expression. You are just writing what the operation is, what the unknown is, and what the number is. So now you try. Here are tonight's practice problems. Go ahead and write them out completely. Yes, that includes the entire thing, and then solve them. Stop the video and come back when you're ready to check answers. Okay, coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here are your answers for tonight's problems. This again, remember times, we don't actually put it in there because it looks like an X and that would be confusing. So we just put it right next to the number, right next to the variable. So the 11 times a number Z would be 11Z. 4 less than 5 times a number G, well, we need to figure out 5G first and then subtract 4. So the answer is not 4 minus 5G. It has to be 5G minus 4. This next one, a number P increased by 22. Well, increased tells us we're adding. So here's our variable, and here's what we're adding to it. The next one, 12 more points than a number P minus 8. So 12 more points than a number P times 8. So remember, if we have times, we are not going to put the X in there because that's just confusing. We're just going to put the number by the variable. So 8P plus 12. And this is another thing to note, that we always put the number first, then the variable if we're multiplying. Just a little hint. And then number 5, 15 divided by a number R. Well, here's 15 divided by R. I know that this can be kind of confusing and it will take us some practice, but we'll be doing plenty of it in class tomorrow. So I want you to go ahead and tell me how many you missed. Be honest, it isn't for a grade. Fill out that self-reflection. Do you get it or are you still a little confused? And fill in the space for any questions you may still have, and we'll go over those tomorrow. I sure hope you have a great night and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.